Well, hi, Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Mickeyfan.
And welcome to the recap of the first Power of Veto competition in 1986.
Mark is watching.
All right, so Mickeyfan, first of all, I just have to say, this has been a fantastic first week. I mean, this is like just
I
above and beyond my expectations.
I am overjoyed at how well this is going. I am hoping that this is a sign.
Right off the front, I want to have some housekeeping about the radio drama portion of this.
Yeah.
I talked to Jokers last night and kind of like ironed out some of the writer's block I've been having with it. And I think I'm on the right track with it. And I think I'd like to make an announcement that basically every week that we're in, we're going to get a new episode. So, for example, in week 2, we're going to be getting episode 2.
Okay.
So I don't want to rush the episodes, you know what I mean? But I
Yeah,
do
I know
want to
exactly
have
what you
them
mean.
but I do want to have them come out like relatively like within the week that we are in.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling a lot of pressure with the radio drama. I have a lot of ambition about it, but like I really want to make sure it sticks to landing. So that's where we're at with it right now. I'm hoping to get episode 2 out before the project is due for the head of household competition in week 2. That's my
Yeah.
goal. All right.
I think that's an admirable goal.
I think it's doable. I think it's doable, especially because I'm like way more on the right track with the actual writing process than I
Yeah.
was. So okay. Let's see. So Mickey fan, let's get straight into the veto competition. Would you like to recap the competition and just what it is and basically we're ripping off Big Brother?
Yes. So yeah, for the first half of the week is, you're all working together as a big group. And then the second half is, you know, six, right? Six people.
Yes. The head of
Yeah, six.
household, the 2
Yeah.
nominees,
And then three
and
randomized.
yep.
Um, and they all compete individually and to create their, to make their pitch for whatever the prompt is for this week. Obviously, it's signature restaurants. And no, we're gonna grade them on a we're gonna grade them on a we're gonna grade them on a I'm losing the word, I'm sorry, but we're gonna grade them. And whoever wins mathematically wins the power of veto, and they can change the nominations.
All right. So speaking of which, I there's something that we just got back, and oh my
Yeah,
God, oh, dramatic. Okay. Oh
totally
boy,
undeserved, but
this is just
that's
this
the
is
nature of
insane.
a randomizer.
This is insane.
Face.
Oh God. All right. Well, oh, I already kind of have a pit in my stomach feeling about this whole thing. All right. So let's get into the actual projects because you guys want us to talk about them. And of course, I feel like so much gratitude towards Jokers for doing the written feedback this
Oh
season.
yeah. Oh
I mean,
yeah.
like I didn't even plan that beforehand. I was just like, hey, could anyone do it? And Jokers was like, yeah, let's do it. And because honestly, guys, I am so busy with work and the podcast and everything's just so slammed right now. I really it's just not on my wheelhouse to be given written feedback right now. But Jokers is filling that void quite well.
And once more, I would like to say, I would like to publicly
Oh,
apologize
yes,
for
yes,
Joker
yes.
for last time.
Jokers, it was all in good fun.
All in good fun. I am so sorry it hit you that way. That was not my intention. I will do better not to do that next time.
Yeah. So, okay. So, well, let's get into the projects. Mickey fan, how much detail do you want to get into these individually? Because I honestly don't really have a lot of time.
We don't have to do much.
Okay, well let's talk spaces. Do you want to just go down like the grading scale with these and kind of use that as a framework for these for
Yeah.
this feedback? Okay. So Space did the Grotto at Port
Uh,
Voyage. Do you want to recap really quickly what Port Voyage is
Port Voyage is the hub of the park.
and also the other area, Harbor
Yeah.
Town.
Yeah, Harbor Town is Main Street, Port Voyage is the hub.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you could go into a little bit more detail
Yeah.
than that.
Wow. Harbor Town is kind of like a Cape Cod, old, old New England port town with a ton of backstory, which I am 100% here for. And then Port Voyage kind of fits into that theme in a looser sense of it's, a really lovely garden environment with a god level castle. And yeah.
All right, so yeah, the storytelling elements, like if they can keep maintaining this throughout the park,
Oh
there's
my god, I like this would beat like Mumbai and Sydney Disneyland, which were previous blue sky parks that
Mhm.
were made on the form. Like if they can keep up with that, like that this would probably beat those two.
We'll see. We'll see. And it's funny because when we first started this competition, I was more interested in the gameplay elements, and now I'm super invested in the park after one round.
Yeah.
And but the gameplay elements, I mean, not to give anything away here, but boy.
it's it's a thing.
Right. All right. So the grotto at Port Voyage. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is my favorite project of all of them
Really.
for me.
I
Um,
I definitely love this.
I think the reason why it was my favorite is just because like it's so intimate and it definitely like personifies like the signature dining, like
Oh
the
yeah.
and like it's not just it's not just a just a really nice restaurant. It's an
Yeah.
experience.
Oh yeah.
And
Well, and
I love the
we'll get
idea of it
into
being
it.
nestled in the rocks.
Yeah, we'll get into it, but I think Goofy's is very much the same in terms of execution.
Sure, sure. Okay, so creativity, I give it a 9 out of 10 just because I love the idea of it being nestled in the rocks. I've never
Yeah.
really seen anything like that in terms of like obviously we've seen restaurants inside of castles, but I've never seen anything like a castle like like something like in the hub that so naturally fits into the surroundings.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I also gave it a 9 out of 10 because for that exact reason, it's so well integrated into the environment of the castle, but it's done in a way that's not just throw a restaurant in the castle.
Mhm. Realism, 10 out of 10, I thought.
Oh yeah.
Just
Oh
like
yeah,
there's
totally.
nothing that couldn't be executed here.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
All right, detail, honestly, 8 out of 10, just because I feel like the detail that I did get about the surroundings was so good that I kind of wanted more.
I gave it a 9 out of 10 because I thought that everything was just perfectly laid out, and like honestly, the only thing, if Space had just provided like a random blueprint
Mhm,
of layout, like this would have been a 10 out of 10 for me.
for sure. Okay, this one maybe is a little bit harsh on my end, but presentation I gave a 7 out of 10 to, just because
I
I am going to be a little bit more harsh on presentation just this season after So You Want to Be an Imagineer, because at this rate, if you're going to just be doing forum posts with good reference photos, I don't necessarily think that warrants more than a 7 out of 10 for me.
Yeah,
You know what I
I
mean?
100%.
Just because of all the effort that we like, I'm just grading on a curb here, but just because of all the effort that we've seen put in like I don't know, like
Yeah.
presentation is
The
definitely going to
effort
be
that
the
was
most.
put into the website
Mhm.
was did not this didn't match that.
Right, right. So
Which, and of course, presentation, no, I don't need a full 100-page project on a restaurant.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But like I'm saying, I just think if you don't have something that's that's a signature that's yours,
Yeah.
then it's hard for me to justify more than a 7 out of 10 at
Oh,
this
yeah.
point where we're at with armchair Imagineering
Oh, yeah.
competitions.
Oh, yeah.
So okay,
I get you.
all right. Anything, and that brings my total up to I believe 34. Yeah,
Yep.
34 out of 40.
Yep. And mine was a 35. So combined total of 69. Nice.
Oh God.
We did not get any of the funny numbers in So You Want to Be an Imagineer. So I am overjoyed.
I don't get everyone's fascination with the 69 thing. I really don't.
It's the funny number.
I yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Anyways, okay, let's move on. I'm sorry,
And
folks. You'll probably.
we got Ace in the comments.
Oh, yeah, okay. Hold on. I'll jump into that. Darn, Space doing everything. So yeah, Space is a competitor for sure.
Yeah, and I think it was D. Hindley. It was either D. Hindley or Pi who mentioned it, but Space is so good with people that we forget that he's freaking amazing with the restaurants.
hmm Okay, let's see. And I'm sorry, folks. We're probably gonna have to like jump around a little bit because like I think these projects are spread out over 3 pages, if not four.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I apologize in advance for that. Ooh,
And I even gave a one-line reaction to this project because I liked it so much.
Can we also talk about the fact that he got it done in like barely half a day?
Space, did you already have this lined up? I don't know if you're here or not, but I want to know. Yep, and then
Okay,
we will.
yeah, let's get into this. Although it's going to be kind of awkward. Well, it's not that big of a deal. I just have him last in my notes. I can deal with it.
Let's scroll to the
This is a
bottom.
me problem, not a podcast problem. I know. Okay, let's wait for the document to load here. I like this quite a bit. I
Yeah,
thought this was understated and yet fantastical at the same
yeah.
time, and it's hard to strike that sort of a balance.
Oh yeah, and like we talk about storytelling, tying this into the Snow White castle this was yet another addition from Snow White, so she could enjoy her gardens even in the middle of winter.
I love that. That's
I love that. No, so like not only is that 100% in character, but it also makes sense with the surrounding environment.
absolutely, absolutely. You know what, Mickey fan? It almost makes me wish that Disneyland would go and oh God, this is sacrilege. This is total sacrilege here. But I'm just saying it would fit better with the surrounding environment if Disneyland changed Sleeping Beauty Castle to Snow White Castle.
Well, I mean, like the original plan was for it to be Snow White's castle.
But then Sleeping Beauty was just
Yeah,
basically a marketing tool.
yeah.
Okay, no, seriously though, think about it. Think about it.
It it does. It
If
does make so much sense for it to be Snow White's castle.
if they had a Snow White's castle, I'm sorry, this is going off on a tangent here, but I like projects that kind of like inspire my own creativity here. So Snow White's castle, like obviously we have the Snow White's wishing well, which Mickey fan, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but like that goddamn wishing well is one of my favorite spots in any theme park.
It's up there for me. I have so much childhood
Yeah, yeah.
memories. Like I remember meeting Snow White and Dopey there when I was little. I remember meeting the Evil Queen there as I grew up and got older.
Uh-huh.
Like, I have so much nostalgia for that little area.
To me, it's less about the meet and greets and it's more about the quietness of the area when a meet and
That
greet
too.
isn't going on.
Oh yeah.
And I love the fact that you can just like stare out at the castle. God, Mickey fan, I remember the swans. Do you remember the swans? I remember the swans.
Okay, so I have a
Oh
hilarious story
God.
about
Oh
this.
God. Okay. Really quick because I have to get to
Okay.
work.
So, this was probably my last trip to Disneyland, I think.
Uh-huh.
Um, and we were waiting for the Evil Queen, and she was just kind of roasting people in line.
Uh-huh.
And she said, "Hey, you see that swan over there? It was a black swan." Yeah, it's mine. I sent her out there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, no, seriously, like the fact that Snow White is also like the first animated film, I feel like would fundamentally fit better into Disneyland than
Oh
just
yeah.
like, hey, here's this movie that happened to be released around the time Disneyland opened.
Oh yeah.
And then obviously you have you how fantastic would a Snow White walkthrough be?
Yeah, but you have the ride and like yeah, like no, what could you do in the walkthrough that wouldn't already be in the ride?
Oh, I have ideas, but we don't have time to get into them. But then it would lead out into the ride, into the courtyard. Maybe they could like plus up the ride, you know what I mean? Like hell,
Well, like
maybe what they could do is just rip out Pinocchio and have it be like a longer ride.
I don't know how I feel about that. But anyways,
All right, we're
yeah.
really tailing off subject here.
We're into Beowulf's project. I just absolutely love this.
Yeah, just the idea of it feels very authentically Disneyland.
Yeah. Um no, and that brings me into the creativity. I give it an 8 out of 10 solely for the IP tie-in, and like hindsight 2020, I think that even 8 out of 10 probably was a bit harsh on my end.
Yeah, I gave it a 9 out of 10 for that
Yeah.
reason.
Um and then realism, I gave it a 10 out of 10. Like,
You know, I gave it an 8 out of 10, but I don't know why. And I'd been drinking a couple glasses of wine that night. So who knows? Who knows what I was thinking?
drunk Tiki is mean. Write that down, people.
All right, detail.
Detail, I gave it an 8.
Same.
Yeah. I think that, maybe if there were a menu thrown in or something to that area, it would have been a 9 or a 10.
All right, presentation. I was leaning between a 7 and an 8, but the the fact of the matter is this didn't really need to be a Word document.
It what it being a Word document was more of a creative get around because Beowulf is new to the form and is still having trouble with the
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
so
Okay.
for that
Okay.
reason alone, I give it an 8.
Well, you know what? I'm still gonna have to stick to what I just laid out of like they're solid reference photos.
Oh yeah.
They're just reference photos. So I'm gonna have to give it a 7 just for that reason.
All right.
Um and then that brings my total to 32 out of 40.
I give it a 34, total of 66.
All right. Okay, let's get into
Nate. Nate's next.
let me find it. Let me close this. Okay. Nate, okay, there we go. Sailor's Cove.
Yeah.
All right. Nate, an inaugural TMNT member.
Yes. Back into the fray.
I'm excited to see Nate play for that reason.
Yeah.
All right. So Sailor's Cove, what do you think of it? Like, I agree with Joker's feedback. You hear that, Jokers? We very much agree with your
Yes.
feedback this time. I agree with Joker's feedback where I like the restaurant idea in concept, but I don't think it fits into the surrounding area.
Yeah, I think that it's very much similar to Space's idea of it being this cove, this rocky outlier, but
The problem with that is that Space made it obvious that it would fit into the the castle setting, and this is
yeah,
more trying to
this is
fit into the harbor setting, and
yeah.
yet it's a
Honestly,
tropical.
yeah, I think it could work, but it would need it needs more of that New England vibe.
Right, it needs to feel like a rocky shore out of the lighthouse and less like Pirates of the Caribbean, you know what I mean?
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So first of all, good layout and everything on Nate's
Oh
end.
yeah,
I like the work on the website.
and the
Um, the reference photos are a little bit repetitive though. I don't know if
yeah,
this was an error on his part, but he literally used the same reference photo twice.
I didn't even notice that.
Oh wait, let's see. No, no, they're
Basically,
not. They're not the same. They're not the same. They just look incredibly similar.
they're almost the same.
The only way I can tell the difference is that rock doesn't have any bushes on it in this second picture. It could be the same location for all we know. Anyways, okay. So I guess you want to just get into I'll just go ahead and lock onto this right here.
Nate said he
And
didn't even notice that.
all right. Yeah, it caught me off guard when I was scrolling through it.
Um, so yeah, creativity, I gave this an 8.
Same.
Yeah, I think that, that backstory, the idea behind it, all really good.
You know what? As much as the setting doesn't fit in, the backstory absolutely does.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, props there. Okay.
And then go ahead.
Realism, I gave it an 8.
I gave it a 9 just because, same reason it fits so well. It seemed so correct with space. Same thing here.
I
I
guess
think
this is where my
kind of fit.
judgment of the setting comes into play with the
Yeah,
8.
that's the one thing, honestly.
Mhm.
Like, if this were more New England and less Adventureland,
Right, right, right. Detail. I also gave it an 8.
I gave it a 7.
Oh, you gave it a 7, really? I
Yeah.
thought there was plenty of detail.
No, it's that menu thing.
Mm, mm. All right, and presentation, I gave it a 9 just because it's got a couple solid images. I feel like the website was laid out pretty well.
I gave it an 8.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, so my total was 33.
Mine was 32, total of 65.
Damn, I want to land on a 64. Do we have any 64s?
Don't.
Ah, damn. Uh Random tangent. Have you been playing any 3D All-Stars?
Yes.
What do you think?
I mean, Mario Galaxy was one of my favorite games
Oh,
growing up.
dude, let's geek out about Mario Galaxy, man, because I'm having the same exact experience, man.
I
Mario Galaxy is a fucking beautiful game. Oh my god, I am revisiting Galaxy. Like that was honestly the one I was least excited for in the compilation, just because it's the most recent. But oh my god, I forgot how much I love that game.
Side note, why was Galaxy 2 not on this thing?
Yeah, well, I honestly think it just has to do with the fact that the anything involving the Wiimote sucks.
Yeah, but Galaxy has the Wiimote.
No, I'm just saying, like, when you play through Galaxy in All Stars, I really don't like that in handheld mode. You have to like touch the
Oh, yeah.
screen to do and I think that Galaxy 2 has even more of that stuff.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
So I don't know. But I feel like if they could just just map it to a button, you know what I mean? It's not that
Yeah.
hard. Like it doesn't have to be
Well, I
motion
mean,
controlled.
and they even did it for the spinning because it's mapped to the Y, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, it's Y. Yeah, yeah. Anyways, okay,
Galaxy is one of the few games I'm using my Joy Cons instead of my Pro controller for.
oh, I could see that. I could see that. Right. I almost always just do handheld mode just because I basically use my Switch as a portable. Okay,
Anyways, moving on.
yes. Let me X out of here.
Next up, we have Dash.
Dash. Now Dash is a really interesting personality because he was very much I don't want to say he was an underdog, but he was kind of like a very under the radar player until you went to be an Imagineer.
Wild card.
A wild that's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. Like he had one amazing round with the Legends of Literature round, and then he kind of was in the background before and after that. But
Kind of tapered out.
when his ass was on the line, though, he fucking nailed it. Okay,
Yeah.
so the blue scale in, I like this a lot, and I think this is one of the most realistic.
Oh yeah. I think that this was a my one problem with this is that one, it felt like kind of a retread of Liberty Tree Tavern.
That
Two,
yeah,
it didn't feel like a signature.
I can see that. I can see that. I can see both those points for sure.
And
Um,
that's also one of my problems with Nate's is that, you know, like it a lot of it didn't feel like a signature in the same way that
Space's project, yeah,
Space and
yeah.
D-Wolf and Goofy's did.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that. But for what it is though, I just feel like it fits so well into Harbor
Oh,
Town
100%.
beautifully.
This this fits like a puzzle piece.
Absolutely. All right. So let's just get right into it. So creativity, I don't know why I gave it a 9 out of 10. I think I was being too generous.
I also give it a 9 for some reason, which I think on its own just shows how well Dash did the execution of this.
I, I think maybe it's just because of how well it fits.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100. And like it adds to Harbor Town.
it does. It
That's
does.
what I love
Absolutely.
about it.
Realism, I gave it a 9 out of 10. I honestly think
I
it might be the most realistic of all the projects.
I gave it a 10 because I 100% can see this exact
That's fair. That's fair. Detail, I gave it an 8.
8. Yeah.
You know what? Presentation, I gave it an 8, but like looking back on it, probably should be a 7 just
Yeah.
based on the
I gave it a
criteria I've
7.
been using.
I gave it a 7.
All right. Well, I'm not gonna like this season. I'm not going to go back on my scores. What I gave when I scored is what I gave, and I'm not gonna like because that's just gonna fuck with with the rankings.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna stick with the 8, but I'm just gonna like make that hard criteria in the future. All right. So total 34 out of 40.
Mine was also a 34.
All right. All right. Good stuff. Good
Yep.
stuff.
Dash got a total of 68.
Okay. Okay, on to Goofy Yuck Yuck.
Yes, I'm so excited to talk about this one because this
Okay,
one was my favorite.
can we just like not bury the lead anymore? Can we just give it away?
Yeah.
All right.
Goofy Yuck Yuck won this
Yeah.
round.
I mean, I don't I think we might have made that a little obvious just based on how excited we were to get to it, but
I just absolutely love this. I love this in concept. I love this in execution. I love this in style. I love this like even down to that custom logo.
you're a lot more passionate about it than I am. I like it a lot.
Uh,
I just
this
think this must have hit something like on a personal level for you because I think it's really good. I don't think it's like
it
amazing.
it probably did because
Right.
I
I
think
missed
that
this video.
you
I
missed the
totally
video.
I missed the video. Yes, let me watch the video while you talk about it. Go ahead.
Like there is so I grew up in Texas, but I grew up in Texas that was an area of Texas that was very wooded and very forested.
Uh-huh.
So like this has a combination of childhood nostalgia, but it also has but it also has this really, really wonderful fairy tale element.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
definitely.
this is also what appealed to me so much about the Adventurers Club tribute project in So You Want to Be an Imagineer of that enchanted forest.
Okay, I'm gonna pause right there. I'm gonna pause right there, Mickey fan. That Enchanted Forest project is exactly the reason I don't think this struck with me as much as it did with you.
Okay.
Because I feel like this felt more like an Adventurers Club type project than Signature Dining. And I also kind of feel like this took a lot of the same ideas of the Enchanted Forest, but the Enchanted Forest was more ambitious than this. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
So it's not that this isn't great. It's just like for me, it doesn't necessarily have the same wow factor that it
It's a
had
bit
for
more been
you.
there, done that.
I don't want to say been there, done that. Been there, done that sounds harsh, but it's it's a new take on a familiar concept.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, I just need to get this out of the way because it okay, so going to high school, there were a pair of twin brothers named the Greenwoods, and oh man, one of them was like really passively aggressively polite, and one of them was just a straight up dick. And I just, oh man, and my best friend was also friends with them. So oh god, the name Greenwood, a lot of negative connotations. The guy who was a straight up dick will still walk past my work sometimes and be like, "Hey," and I'll be like, "Hey," it's like if you could apologize for being a straight up dick, then that'd be great. But until then, I'm not going to be too cordial towards you. Anyways, okay. So I really hope that by some circumstance, neither of those two are watching this right now. It's like I tried with both of them, but it's just no. Our personalities on either end of the spectrum just did not match. You know what it's like with mutual friends.
Yes.
All right. So I think that pretty much covers it with I
Yeah.
mean, presentation is amazing though, looking at it. Oh my god,
Uh,
I'm gonna
yeah.
have to give
Uh,
this a 10 out of 10 if I didn't already.
I gave this 10 out of 10 for creativity.
Give it a
I
9 out of 10 for creativity.
9
Probably
out of
just
10.
for the reason I listed.
Yeah, 9 out of 10 for realism.
Okay, I give it an 8 out of 10 for realism, and here's why. I just think that in terms of the surrounding area, um, it doesn't blend together with the surrounding area as well as some of the other projects do.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
All right. Okay, and presentation, I honestly don't know what I was thinking. Give it a 9 out of 10 because it's clearly a 10 out of 10, I think.
I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know
Wow.
why, honestly.
Because I mean, it's got the logos, it's got the
Yeah.
menu, it's got the video. It seems like it pretty much hits all the right notes for me in terms of
I
presentation.
Going back, I would probably give this a 9 or a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. All
Um,
right,
but yeah, I gave it a 37.
and I only gave it a 34, which seems low.
Is very low,
All
but
right.
total of 71. Goofy one.
Yep, yep. All right, now we have to get to first of all, should we like get like kind of like wrap the I like wrap the reveal, like the results and the Brer Panther. Let's just go through Brer Panther's
Yeah.
feedback really quick.
So
First of all, Brer Panther, I just want to say like Mickey Fan, why don't you go first? I have a hard time with this stuff.
I I think that there's a lot here. I think there's so much here to love. I love the Moby Dick reference, and I love No, I love that. No, once again, it adds to Harbor Town. And I think that, with a bit, with a bit more detail, this would totally be a one of the runaway projects.
Yeah, I agree, and it just I don't know. I don't like seeing people be hard on themselves, and
No,
it makes me sad.
yeah.
So, uh,
And because, like, do you want to get into the scores?
I think we should.
Yeah.
I don't really have a lot to say about this, just because
Oh,
there's not really a ton here. But like you said, I feel like with a little bit more detail, really, if he could have put a little bit of a focus on the signature dining of it all,
yeah.
I really think it could have been like at least up there with like like maybe not necessarily one, but at least been a contender. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
So yeah, let's get into the scores.
For creativity, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I think that, setting it in a colonial mansion and, you know, all that, fits Harbor Town so well. And once again, it adds to the land in a way that it wouldn't if it were just, if it weren't in that colonial mansion.
Mhm.
Um,
All right, and then for realism, I gave it a 9 out of 10.
yeah, I give it the
I
same.
also gave it an 8 out of 10 for creativity.
Yeah, I give it the same. I think that, this is 100% feasible.
I think it's the best strength of the project is how
Oh, yeah.
realistic it is. All right, for detail, I gave it a 7 out of 10.
I gave it a 6.
That's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. I just felt bad.
Uh, and then for presentation, I gave it a 7.
That's fair. Yeah, that's what I gave it as well.
And Bear Panther had a total of 62. Unfortunately, that's the bottom, but like still, that's pretty good. Like
It's like what, like 1 or 2 points away from
it
the
is
second place.
it's 3 points away from Nate's.
Yeah, so it's I feel like everyone was in this in a very similar tier here.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally. I the biggest problem with this is execution, and that is the only problem with this in all things considered.
Mhm. All right, so Mickeyfan, now we're going to get to the results. We're going to get to Space's replacement nominee.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. Do you want to just go ahead and pull up, like, screen share the conversation? Because I feel like what Space had to say is going to soften the blow a little bit.
Uh yeah, I think that's a good call.
Okay. So let's just go to Space's diary room. By the way, Mickeyfan, I hope you're not busy today because we're gonna need a bunch of diary rooms set up for the voting. And I have to get to work. So
Yeah, I can do that.
okay, cool. Okay, so yeah, just to read off what Space said when he had to name a replacement nominee. It's between a rock and a hard place, especially given what was said on the hub thread last night, because either Brer gets eliminated, confirming his thoughts, or everyone feels sympathy for Brer, and I'm picking someone who really doesn't deserve to go. I'd offer myself to be nominated, but I don't want to have a martyr complex, nor in any way derail enthusiasm by voluntarily leaving. And he did a random.org, and Pi came up as the replacement nominee.
Yeah.
So Mickeyfan, this week has just been crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, I can go on record in saying that most first weeks of actual Big Brother are not this crazy.
Yeah, I I think that, like, this is gonna suck no matter who goes. But
I'm I'm just gonna say this. If Brer Panther goes, it's the nature of the game
yeah,
and the fact that this competition is basically designed to be kind of brutal in that way.
yeah,
And it's not
and
a slight against you. You know what I
it is
mean?
it is 100% not a slight against you. I think that, you know, s someone has to go home first.
Right, right.
Whether
And
that's
at
Big
the end of the
Brother,
day, it
whether
just
that's Survivor, whether that's Drag Race, whether that's Hell's Kitchen, whether that's any competition reality show,
sure.
someone has to go home first, and it sucks.
But at the end of the day, I still feel like literally everyone gave a lot to the first project, and it came out
Absolutely.
with one of the best starts to any armchair Imagineering game I've ever seen, which is kind of crazy considering that this 1986 thing kind of just it sort of just ballooned in itself. I mean, I almost feel like this is going to be more successful than any season of So You Want to Be an Imagineer, which is mind blowing to me.
Especially after
Um,
last season.
I know. So yeah. Brer Oswald or Brer Panther. I'm sorry, I get the Brers mixed up on this. um, Brer Panther, like I really hate that it shaked out this way, assuming that the votes do go your way. I am going to have a compelling reason for people to vote for Pie, but we'll get there. But I really just hope there's no hard feelings, and I really wish like there was something else that we could do to engage you in this, because of course, honestly, the big thing that sucks about eliminating people from these things is the fact that everyone is looking for an outlet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh,
So I don't know. Maybe we can recruit Brer to be part of the radio drama story or something.
yeah. If I think that I think that there's so much that we can do, especially in these absolutely insane times.
Yeah. So I would actually like, yeah, if Brer, like, hell, we could even make Brer Panther like, like an actual part of the story. You know what I mean? He could be like the sacrificial lamb, if you will.
Oh yeah.
But again, I'm talking presumptuously that the votes are going to go his way. So let's talk about the
And
other option.
Pie, I I could see a potential reason to get rid of Pie this early.
I just think it's really ironic considering like I put the idea of a back door into Space's mind, and then via random.org he inadvertently does it.
Exactly.
Because Pi did not play in the veto competition. He had no say in this.
Exactly.
I mean, can I just say, like, I'm just gonna be straight up, like, Pi, I love you to death. You're one of my best friends on here, but just from a sheer, like, very selfish producer point of view, if the votes do go Pi's way, I'm just gonna have a shit-eating grin on my face just because that's so fucking crazy.
Note to our competitors, don't do this just to please Tiki.
But I'm just saying, if the competitors want to set a tone, if they want to set a tone that anything can happen and all bets are off, and this is not So You Want to Be an Imagineer, this is not Sorcerer's Apprentice, this is a game that actually has like a lot of dynamic strategy going on in it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it would be a hell of a first move, man. It would be a hell of a first move.
It would. It would.
So yeah, that's all I'm saying. I think it's either get rid of, the person who unfortunately did contribute the least, but probably had other stuff going on, like, because of course some people just live on this board and other people
Yeah.
actually have lives. I assume Brer Panther has a life, nothing to be ashamed of. Or you could get rid of potentially one of the biggest threats.
Yeah.
And I
And
fucking love that.
either makes sense.
It does. It does, especially with the nature of this game
Yeah.
in particular.
And it either makes sense and either honestly could be would set a tone for this game.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think that do I hate saying this, but vote your conscience.
Vote with your gut. I'm not going to go as far as to say conscious. This is a strategy game. Go with your gut. Trust your gut. All right. So, Mickey fan, any last words? Any final thoughts here?
Awesome project. We will probably have week 2 up in the next day or so.
Yeah, it depends on how quickly the votes go in,
Yeah.
but I'm just going to assume that we get all the votes today, and so in that respect, I think I'll just go ahead and start it tomorrow morning so everyone can be on the same page and the night owls don't get the advantage of like 10 pages of the brainstorming when everyone else is asleep.
Yes.
Because that was the mistake we made last round.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, and like I said, guys, the radio drama is plugging along. I have a lot of plans for it. I just need to kind of get my thoughts in order and finalize my plans. I have the next 2 days off, so hopefully I'll get the script actually pumped out by then. All right. Big thanks to everyone for joining in this early morning podcast. I got to get to work. See y'all later. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
A good night. Wow. Fucking force a habit, Tiki.